what we're really focusing in on with Melt. And so that is our communication tool throughout our entire body. And it's every organ, every piece of tissue, all the rest throughout the entire body. So if you can think of the superficial fascia layer as the communication to the communication of all the communication of the body, that's really kind of like that one gal in the corner who just kind of knows it all. That's your fascia. So go ahead and level out your feet. Look at both of your feet. Make sure they are where you left them. Bring your head up and chest up. The body's nice and tall and chest is lifted. As it's comfortable for you, close your eyes and take a nice even breath. Just soften your knees, your ankles, your glutes, your belly, your core. And begin to notice kind of just from your feet upward how everything is connected. In your feet specifically, do you feel like most of the weight is focused forward into your toes or back into your heels? That's a very important feeling. If we're focused more into our toes, we tend to be more driven forward. I don't mean emotionally driven, I mean our body weight is off center forward. If we're too far back into our heels, we're probably loading our lower back. Notice into your calves, if your calves feel evenly kind of rounded, plump, or do they feel turned in or turned out or jammed down into your ankles? Taking your attention up into your knees, be aware of your knees if your knees feel pressed back, or if they feel nice and plump around the back line and through the kneecaps. Taking now your attention to your glutes, your hamstrings, and your quadriceps. Notice if you're feeling gripped, like you're really trying to tighten those legs. If you don't know, squeeze your glutes, quads, and hamstrings and see if you can tighten them any more. And then try to relax and see what happens to the shifting weight of the body. And then finally, with an inhale, lift up all 10 toes and notice what happens with the redistribution of your weight. Do you feel like you shift off to one side? You feel like it's more difficult with this less base of support to support yourself? And then with an inhale and exhale, drop all 10 toes and notice if you whoosh back to the center, like the Red Sea filling itself back in. Good. Inhale, open your eyes. And then just kind of take a notice of that for a second. We are going to start with your ball right in the center of your right foot. So you're going to place that ball right through the middle of the right foot. So between the ball, the foot, and the heel, and begin to shift the foot side or the body weight side to side. So when you're doing this side to side, so you want to make sure that it's really centered on your foot. When you're shifting your weight side to side, keep your joints relatively soft. Let your body just kind of shift easily from right to left. And it's kind of like you're mashing down grapes or something like that. And just kind of let your shoulders roll in and roll out. So it's nice and even. You're not taking full weight off and pumping back down. Always remember that. It's just kind of a release of that tension. And then go ahead and pause. Take your arms up and over your head. Take your arms back down to your side. Roll your shoulders forward. Roll your shoulders back. Turn to your left and turn to your right. Okay? You're just giving information to your nervous system of where all your joints are. From there, I'm just going to have you do the second side. Just go ahead and put that ball right there in the center line of that left foot. And again, just shifting side to side. So again, we're just turning our body on to information. We're giving that first clue that we're coming in at the body. And we want to improve the balance, support, and stability of the entire system. So shifting side to side, knees are bent, body weight is soft. And then go ahead and pause. Inhale, take your arms up and over your head. Exhale, take your arms back down. Roll your shoulders forward. Roll your shoulders back. Turn to your left and turn to your right. Come all the way back up to standing and just kind of stand nice and tall. Go ahead and move the ball out of the way. You can do a real quick reassess of our body sense, or kind of our natural reflexive balance by just closing our eyes. Lift up all 10 toes again and see if you just feel a little more stable right there. Take a big deep breath. Exhale, drop the feet. And notice if you have less of that whoosh forward. What we just did is just turned on your natural sense of movement, your natural body sense, and so that your body actually wants to maintain its balance to support itself. So we're going to do a limb release. We're going to start out with that left shoulder, and we're going to do just about 10 rubs right across the sternum, right into the collarbone, and just go ahead and rub right at your chest. So right on that left collarbone, just kind of rub back and forth. You can look to the right, look up, Look to the left. And then we're going to give that spot 10 pats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go to the other side, to the right side, across the collarbone, underneath it, above it, around it. Look to your right, look to your left, look up, look down, and then 10 pats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're going to take your fingers down the middle of your sternum and just begin to rub up and down, kind of finding each one of those red lines right where the sternum meets the ribs. You might even find some tender spots in there. Remember, tissue is not supposed to be tender. When you touch spots of the body, there should be not any just unweird, kind of bruisey feeling areas. Holding right here, tap 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then belly. And the belly kind of feels good. You'll start feeling a little tingling. You've got this very large lymph node. It's called a sentinel node, a big gigantic thing here called the cisterna chyli. It's kind of the juncture of the upper half and the lower half of the body. Good. And then we'll tap 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bend the knees a little bit and right in the groin. Press in and back and forth. Again, just be gentle. The tissues go right across that pelvis. And then again, chop, but nicely, 10 times. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to do something new that we don't normally do. We're going to touch our butt. So touch your butt and then lift up onto your toes. Lift and squeeze your butt. Squeeze your butt and then back down and squeeze. Drop it, squeeze. Get real tight in both glutes. And down one more time, up. And then again, we're going to pat with little fists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Take your hands all the way down the back of your legs, and you're going to rub underneath and behind your knees, down into your calves around. Give them a little bit of a rub, up and down, inner part of your thigh, and then pat behind the knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Go ahead and come on up. Take your arms up and overhead. And then exhale down. Good. Open your arms out. Sway your hands out. And exhale in. Inhale. Open out. Just open those fingers wide. Exhale. Inhale. Open out. And reach through your fingers, your thumbs, your pinky. Exhale and in. 2 more times. Inhale, open big. And exhale and open big. Inhale, reach those fingers out. And then exhale, come on down. Good. Just shake out your arms, shake out your legs. Good. So that's a nice, easy way to build the heat in the body and to develop some circulation. Let's go ahead and take that large softball, place it again underneath the right foot. Push down into the middle of the foot. And again, let's just push back and forth. Nice and easy. Just a couple of times. Good. And then step back with your left foot. Move the ball to the big toe knuckle. Not the toes itself, but behind. So you see my toes are touching the ball. And you're going to press down and then up. And then to the second knuckles. So behind the pinky for the second toe. Press down and come up. And then the third toe. Watch the knuckles come up. Press down and come up. Fourth toe, press down and come up. Small movement. Fifth toe. Now let's go to the inside arch, point 3A, down where the arch kind of meets the heel. 3B, where the soft tissue meets the bunion area below the pad of the foot. And then to 4, between the pinky toe knuckle and the front of the heel. I know I don't always use these numbers. We don't even always do position point pressing, but here it is today. So back at position point 5, where the arch meets the heel, press down. Put about 50% more of your weight in, and begin to move that heel side to side. So we're gliding. Remember, gliding is a preparatory movement. It's get in, get out, let the movement happen, let the tissue respond, and so that we can do what is our shearing motion. Back to the heel and then return back to the arch. Good. Pause right where the heel meets the arch again, and then tighten up that wiggle. Nice and quick. So you're not trying to move the ball. It's just a tight, like you're spinning the skin underneath your thumb. Pause, let the tissue respond, and then you rinse. Move the ball to the knuckle behind the big toe, and then to your heel. Knuckle behind the second toe and heel. Third toe and heel. Fourth, and then fifth. Last one, and press. Now let's just do our friction. So remember, friction is all about multi-direction. Turn the hip in, turn the hip out, get underneath the toes, on the outside edge of the heel. Lost the ball. A little soccer game here. And then pause. Good, let's go ahead and pause, just rebalance just for a second. Just kind of notice where your body weight is. Close your eyes and just notice the weight balance difference. Notice if that right side feels more whole all the way up the body. Maybe that right side feels more even, less stuck. The left side might feel like it's not connected all the way to itself. Take a big deep breath and open the eyes. Let's go to the left foot. Fall in the center of the left foot. Shift side to side again. Good. Make sure that the weight is even. Push down, come off. You can kind of sway right, left, bend the knees. Good. Pause. Move the ball to the knuckle behind the big toe. Press down. You're looking for the knuckles to push up a little bit. Press down. To the third toe. Press down. To the fourth toe. And to the fifth toe. All the way to the inside arch of the foot. 3B or 3A. Move the ball to 3B, which is behind it in the soft tissue right before the pad of the foot. And then to the outside edge on position point 4. Good. Move the ball to position point 5 again. Put about 50% more of your weight in. And then begin to move that ball. So your heel is moving side to side, the foot is staying balanced, and you're just trying to drag that ball back towards your backside of your heel. Keeping your weight down into that ball so it's even. And then pause right where the arch meets the heel, and then let's shift and do that shearing. Nice tight wiggle. You should feel heated up. You might even feel tingling going up that leg. That's a nice an idea of fluid return. Pause. And then let's rinse. Knuckle to heel. Knuckle to heel. Third toe knuckle press to heel, fourth toe, fifth toe. We'll do 2 more spots. And last time. Remember, rinsing is one direction. Let's go friction on that left foot. Pause, and then let's go back to the right foot friction. Pause, last time, left foot friction. And just see if the hips feel just a little bit easier. Pause. Go ahead and put the ball away. Nice little trick. Use your toes to hold the ball. Bring those feet back together. Bring your shoulders back. Eyes closed if you can. And let's go back into the body, noticing where the footprint is on the ground. Just go ahead and breathe. Feel that ease in the bottom of the feet. Notice if the feet feel more evenly weighted on the ground. As you take your attention up into the calves, if the calves feel a little bit more plump, back of the knee feels a little bit less pushed back or maybe spiraled in. Maybe you notice less clenching or tension in your glutes, hamstrings, or quads. Lift up all 10 toes at the same time. Notice if there's less shift to rebalance. Take a deep breath. Exhale, drop all 10 toes. And if there's less whoosh in the movement of the body. So inhale, take your arms up and over your head again, reach, and then exhale back down. So it's a great way to start, finish, begin a day, end a day, whatever, to really bring some different flow and different hydration. Like when you get to become and you start doing this more on a regular basis, you are going to notice how maybe even your shoulders feel more settled. Your head and neck might feel more at ease because there's fluid returning through the entire body. All right, so we're going to come to the ground. Go ahead and put the balls away. Grab your roller. And we're just going to start in real quick with a what are we going to start with? Just a body reassess, kind of again. I'm going to move down the camera so you can see me a little bit better on the ground. Hopefully I can get it nice and even. Good, so I'm a little bit closer to you now, hopefully, so maybe you can even hear me a little bit better. So let's come onto the ground and let's do just a nice, easy body scan to see where your body is, to see where you're feeling any tension building up inside your back of your shoulders and all of that. Even though we just finished with a foot treatment, you should feel a little bit more even, especially your autopilot should feel a little bit more balanced. And so let's go ahead and lay back all the way back onto the ground. Get back on the floor, chin in towards the sternum. Let the arms extend out to your sides. And just rest back into the floor. Go ahead and once again, close your eyes and let yourself just come in deeper into the body. Exhaling. And just feel that body in contact with the ground. Notice starting with your head, if the weight of your head feels evenly distributed down behind the bridge of your nose. If your shoulders feel even to the ground, like you don't feel your scapula just poking into the ground, or maybe you feel that weight evenly balanced into two evenly weighted arms, ideally, and then the rib cage should be down at the brow line. Very often, if there's imbalances, stuck stress in the upper part of the body, you're going to feel your shoulder blades dig into the ground, and you're going to feel your head off center. Good. From here, notice the weight into your rib cage if you feel that waving back arch, or if you feel a kind of a twisted one rib seems higher than another. Breathing, noticing your pelvis, if your pelvis feels level to the ground. Like mine feels really pretty level after that foot treatment, but you may still feel like your sacrum, the very center, feels stuck into the floor. And then the back of the hamstrings, they feel like they're touching. Ideally, they should feel touching, or at least coming closer to the ground. Back of the knees should feel off the ground. Calves should feel evenly weighted on the ground, and feet should feel like they're turning evenly east and west to the room. Dividing the body in half. Notice if the right and left sides feel equal to each other. One hopefully doesn't feel longer than the other, but it may feel like one leg is longer. It may feel like you're twisted on the ground. That would be your autopilot being off, and we want to notice if your body feels more connected than that. Especially because we just did a full foot treatment, which would be a rehydrate, release, and restoring of good fluid return. Go ahead and slide your feet in so your shins are vertical. We're going to get up onto the roller for a rebalance. Go ahead and go to head hips. Bring your hip up. Roll up on top of your roller. And let's come all the way down to the ground and begin with a gentle rocking side to side. Now we're going to start with this nice, even, gentle rocking. And we are going to go down to the mostly lower body compression work. So you're going to feel that movement on the ground, on your calves, the front and back, as well as on your thighs, front and back, and on your hips. So we're going to focus mostly on the lower body. Breathing. Our circulation, again, should be fully compressed down and back up. You shouldn't feel like your legs are heavy by the end of the day, like your knees just ache for no particular reason, like your hips feel like all your weight is on one side or the other. Very often, that could be muscular imbalance, that could be venous return that's a problem, or it could be all different types of tensional stiffness throughout the entire body. That's resting into the joints, so we want to get fluid return through those joints. From here, place your hands at your pelvis and begin to tuck and tilt your pelvis. Now, if you've already done a pelvic tuck and tilt today, notice also if you feel like you have a little bit more movement maybe than you did before. Maybe your glutes aren't grabbing than you have before. Because very often after we do a foot treatment, the pelvis feels a little bit more free. Again, you're not lifting the rib cage, you're just moving the pelvis. and then pause. Take your hands to the rib wall, breathing through the ribs. Exhaling. Inhaling again. Think about feeling up 6 sides of the body, the rib cage, the belly, the chest, and the back. And then let's just release the arms straight out towards the knees and take your right arm overhead, just out of eye line, and then your left arm, just out of eye line. So the idea here is you're not allowing your shoulder to lift up towards your ear. You're just letting your arm go over your head. So you're keeping that shoulder kind of down. So you're working the shoulder girdle, not the scapula, not the upper back muscles. Breathing. Body just sink. Bring the arms more in line with the navel, straight out, and then reach and pull the shoulder blades back. Reach up, pull the shoulder blades back. Reach your hands towards the ceiling. Lower the shoulder blades, kind of round or wrap the shoulder blades in. One more time, reach and pull back. Then now open your arms almost to the floor. Feel that tensional pull and begin to wave those wrists like you're kind of that algae in the water, just kind of moving back and forth. A very kind of gentle motion of that for sale kind of bubbly balloon guy at the used car lot. Breathing and just drop the hands to the ground. Let's slide the right leg out from underneath and then roll back onto the back. Lower your head back to the ground, and let's do a real quick reassess of your entire back line of the body. And you may immediately notice one particular area of the body a little deeper sunken into the ground. Very often it's the shoulders, upper back. That would be an indirect or a direct change. It may be the rib cage settled in. Notice if the head just feels more centered, arms feel more evenly weighted to the ground, pelvis more evenly weighted right and left butt cheek. And the beautiful thing is that up the midline of the body, you begin to start finding that equanimity between your right and left sides. That autopilot is starting to recenter itself to support, protect, and stabilize you. All right, go ahead and slide your feet in so your shins are vertical. Let's take that roller again. And let's take the roller behind the back of the legs. Now, remember, in roller form on the calves, it can be done seated upright if you have any dizziness at all, or you can do this on your back. So at any time, we're going to do this primarily on our back. If you feel dizzy, if you feel like you're not getting it or something like that, just come to a seated position, and you can do the same basic movements on the back of the calf in a seated position. I'm going to lay back again, and we're going to just go back on the back with the calves, about midline on the roller. So just below the ball of the gastrocnemius, the bigger muscle of that calf. And we're going to start with a little bit of a glide back and forth. So our knees are just bending slightly towards our head. The roller may move a little bit, reposition itself, just recorrect for that movement if you need to. You also know if you're pushing too hard or pulling too hard, if that roller does move more than it needs to. So just be aware of that. You may have to readjust them. Now, as you can, as you're rolling, begin to stir your knees right and left. So you're really getting into that calf a little bit more. Again, you may pull the roller up with you. Don't worry about it. And then pause and go the other direction. So you may start noticing that you've got little bumps, or what we call barriers, inside those calves. So a couple of things about circulation is your calves are also known as your second heart. They're a pumping mechanism to return blood flow back to the top of the body. But if they get stiff, tired, sore, dehydrated, that fluid return can become problematic. You can get swollen, tired feet. You can get swollen, tired hips or knees. And so it's important to return that movement into the calves so the calves want to pump the fluid back to the heart. So go ahead and find that foot level there, and you're just going to begin to turn your knees, just kind of like windshield wipers, right to left. Just kind of let those knees drop right to left. Again, you may notice you have some barriers. We're going to stop on or next to a barrier and then just roll the ankles. So both feet are moving at the same time, but not necessarily in the same direction. You can do an egg beater. You can do U shapes. You can spell your name out in cursive if that makes you any happier. Good. Go ahead and pause. Bring those legs back to center. We're just going to take your right ankle, place it over your left, and begin to just do a glide just on that left side. So again, you're just bending and straightening the left knee. The right leg is a rider, but it's acting as a weight against the left leg. Pause and roll the hips. That makes the calf roll side to side. Again, you're noticing that barrier that might be there. And you're going to pause right up against the barrier, not into it, and then again roll the lower ankle, the left ankle, the lower ankle, the foot that's on the bottom. As Jeff Rudin says, you do that pointy, circly thing with your foot. I guess he took ballet when he was a kid, so he knows all the technical terms. Pause, take your right foot off, place your left foot on your right, and then again, do that gliding up and down on that right leg. Pause, and then let's go right to left, noticing if you find any barriers in there. And then pause up against a barrier, but not necessarily on it. And again, make a little U shape with that ankle. And then pause again, let the tissue respond. And let's bring the feet back together and level with each other and just knead the back side of those calves. So right knee bends as left knee extends, push and pull against the roller. And then pause. Take a big deep breath in and exhale. Go ahead and walk that roller up to your back side of your hamstrings. And you're just going to be just above the knees. And let's begin to do a shearing side to side. So on the back of the leg, that's really all there is to do is just this shearing, open and close. There is a rolling technique, but it does take a lot of work on the arms and shoulders. So this is just a lot more functionally safe for the rest of the body. Remember, when our body gets into fear, pain, which it perceives as the same thing, our body wants to shut down and pause and not really continue on like it should. So it tells and gives the body signals to stop. And those signals to stop are typically pain signals, or they're fear signals of something's going to go wrong if I continue. So allow yourself to just do less. Pause, let those legs drop, roll the knees in and out. Feel that glute happen when you do that. Good, and then just let your legs soften. Slide your feet in so the shins are vertical. Push that roller all the way up to the underside of your butt. Pull that roller around. So if you have a middle roller that's nice and bendy, you'll be able to do this real easily. Head goes back. And then again, you're taking those legs in and out. This time, stir the toes out, stir the toes in. You're in the outer part of the thigh, maybe getting a little bit into the inner part of the thigh. Breathing. So you've heard me talk a little bit about the neurocore. The neurocore is the sense of the center of the body. And that goes all the way down from the midline of the body through the inner thigh. That neurocore is a lot of message, information, balance for your reproductive organs, for your bladder, your digestive organs. Breathing for your heart and your lungs. Pause. Good, and just let the legs rest. And they may feel a little tingly. Good, and then just roll the ankles clockwise or counterclockwise. Breathing. Good, slide those feet in. Lift the hips all the way up. And so you have the roller against the pelvis. Make sure you set your position so you're not too high where the roller's on the lower back and you're not too low. Like you can reach down and still touch those cheeks. Right knee and left knee come to a tabletop or a straight up knee position over the hips. Your knees can be slightly drawn in towards the chest if you like. And let's just begin with a circle. So we're doing that SI joint shear. Knees easily and evenly in a small circle. Exhaling. And inhaling. Nice and easy and deep. Breathing. Now we've done it before, so hike your right hip up, place your right hand, lower the roller onto that hand, hike your left hip up, place your left hand right underneath the hips, and again, let's continue on with that SI joint shear. Now you just have these barriers on the outside edge of your hips. Go ahead and pause in the center, and then let's just alternately lower the legs down like you're marching. Now, knowing this, as you can go down a little bit lower, but watch that the pelvis doesn't arch. Watch that you don't feel like you're going to lose the roller out from underneath you. Breathe. It's nice when the hips already feel kind of nice and loose. Pause when you bring that left knee back up. Tilt both legs to your right. And again, circle, just clockwise or counterclockwise, doesn't particularly matter. And then pause, and then clamshell, just your right knee open and close. So you'll feel that outer hip against your hand, and that SI joint against the roller. SI joint is those little dimples in your back. Good, and then pause, bring both knees in. Bring both knees center, and then let's shift your weight over to your left side and begin to circle just on the left side. So your right kind of hip, butt cheek is just up off the roller a little bit. And then again, pause. And let's do that clamshell. So your left knee is opening and closing. Good, and then pause, let the tissue respond, bring both knees up, and then let's drop one foot at a time. All right, lift the hips up, drop the hips down. Let's do a real quick reassessment. Now we have our hips, which would be our indicator, just kind of that generalized area that we just were working on, hips to lower body, and then the upper body should feel maybe about the same or maybe better. So a direct result, an indirect result will be upper body, arms are down by your sides. Just like feel the movement. Does the head feel more level? The shoulders feel more settled, right and left side. How the rib cage feels. That feels a little bit more even, like your navel is where your back arch starts. And then notice the pelvis. If you feel like that, those hips, those glutes are sitting more evenly into the ground. And then that fourth area right there, that imbalance, it tends to be, notice if you feel your hamstrings touching the ground a little bit more, or at least moving in that direction. Go ahead and slide those feet until the shins are vertical. Let's roll to one side and bring ourselves all the way up. From that all the way up position, you're going to get on your hands and knees. And you're going to put your knees right onto the roller. Now, again, we're going to focus in on the calves, and then we're going to focus in on the quadriceps. This is done also, if you need to get out of this and be done with it, just move out of it and be done with it and come back in another time. And so do less than more, get in, get out if you need to. So we're going to be in all fours here. And then all you're going to do is kind of flex and point the feet. So just kind of bend and straighten the ankles. You're just underneath the knee line. Pause. You're going to take your left foot and cross it over your right ankle, and then you're going to sink into your right hip a little bit. I want you to bring your knees in towards your chest. Then to get your legs back out from underneath you again, you're going to wiggle and lift your hips up. And then come back to the top of where the knee is. Again, sink into your right hip. Slide the roller down the outside of that right shin, and then wiggle the hips a little bit. You're just twisting or shearing on the outside again through your tibialis of that right shin. One more time. Drop, roll, and then shimmy back to the top. Good. And then again, come back to level, and then let's bend and straighten the ankles. And then let's do the other side. I'm going to turn so maybe you can see me a little easier as well. My knees are on top. Cross my right ankle, this time over my left, sinking to my left hip. So I'm on the outside of my left shin, and I'm rolling my knees underneath me. They come back up. I wiggle like a cocker spaniel, kind of excited to get home, and then pause, roll. Bring the knees underneath you, and then wiggle. Come back up. One more time, roll. Keep that weight right up against that shin, that roller, and then wiggle your way back up. Good. Pause. Let's take the weight off of the calves. Put the weight onto the top of the knees or above the knees. Keep the abdomen nice and tight, and then just begin to roll back and forth. Again, you're moving from the ankles. So you're just right on the top of the quadricep, not on the belly of the quadricep, the middle, right above the knees. Do 3 more, 2, and then pause, and then just bend and straighten your right knee. You can have the toe pointed, you can have the toe flexed, and then pause, and then left knee, bend and straighten. Make sure you're pushing down into those arms, and the belly is nice and tight. And then pause. Let's bring both knees up, and then kind of windshield wiper those feet. Good, and then pause. Go ahead, and then you're gonna roll so you're on the outside edge. So now my right leg is on the top, or on the bottom, on the roller. My left leg is gonna kind of come on top of my right. So I'm on my toes on the outside edge, and then I'm just gonna be on the outside of my right thigh. Back and forth, it's a little tender. Pause, bring both feet on top of each other, stack them, and then just kind of wiggle your hips back and forth for a little direct shear here. Again, pause, let the tissue respond, and then drop your hips. Let's get out of that. Let's go to the other side. So start with your knees over the roller, on your foot side of the roller. Bring yourself up onto your left shoulder. Right foot is in front, and you're just on the outside of that left thigh. You're using your feet to push you forward and back. So the outside of those knees, the outside of those shins, are where the contact points for the joint is, and they can get very tight. Pause, and again, you're just shifting forward and shifting back, kind of shoving your hips forward and back. And then again, pause and hold, and then just drop those hips down. Good, we're gonna come up onto the roller and sit on top of the roller. Square this somehow. Body nice and tall, chest is lifted. Drop onto your, if you're on your left butt cheek, you're dropping into your left hand, and then let's just one-sided. Your knees are going up and around. Hold your left side, hold your left knee, or your right knee. Your feet can be far apart, but you're kind of just doing a circle with your hips. Think of your glute, your femur bone, right into the hip joint, you're going around it. Pause, open and close the bottom knee. Good. Extend the bottom leg, lower the bottom arm, and roll in and roll out. Roll toward me and away from me, I guess depending on where you're facing. 2 more. And last one. Good. Pause, slide your foot in, Bring yourself up. Once again, I'm going to turn face the other direction. Bring yourself up onto your roller. Place your right hand down and back. Knees are bent, and you're doing a circle with those knees round. Breathing. Good. Keep that head and chest up. Couple more times. You're finding that barrier in there. Pause. Open and close that right knee. And then drop to your right elbow. Extend your right leg. Roll towards your hip and roll back. Roll towards your hip and back. And one more time. Roll toward your hip and back. Slide your foot in. Bring yourself up and roll off your roller. Good. Take that roller behind you onto the ground and then just lay back. Take a big deep breath, inhale. And we'll finish with another even rest success. And now just take from head, shoulders, to hips, to feet. That full body reassess. Notice how the weight of your head, if it feels more evenly weighted. Arms feel more open and rolled out. Rib cage feels softer to the ground. And you might feel this even weight across your back to your rib cage. Taking a focus into your pelvis, your legs, your calves, your feet. And notice if you feel evenly weighted on your glutes. If your hamstrings feel more evenly touching the ground. Back of the knees feel more level in their arch. Calves feel like they're touching the ground. And feet feel like they're dropping even more equally, or just even more just gently to the right or to the left. Taking a big breath. Notice